Hi, I'm with David this evening, and we are going to go through this document, a notice of intended prosecution reminder, um, which I think you'll all be very interested to have a look at. I'm just going to share it on my screen now. I'm going to make it bigger and bring it down so that it's clearer for people to see.
Great stuff. Well, hello,
There's that.
everybody.
There we go.
Yeah, that's pretty good for now, I think. Yeah, I'm David. Just going to go through this notice of intended prosecution reminder. Although I hear you say, how do you know that? In as it's kind of inverted in a box in all caps, so it's unreadable. So we don't really know what this is. However, this is a random sort of one that was just sort of come across for now. But there's some interesting bits on this. We wanted to take a few of them to pieces for you. The name and address have been changed and things, although we've kept the same styling because it's important to address the styling, the all caps, the title, the surname, that kind of thing. But this is an actual real, unbelievably, this is a real one they send out. And find most of them are at this kind of quality. And the reason we want to go through this is we've talked about the stamp, the return for cause stamp, and that is by far the best way to deal with anything. Just stamp it, send it back. Don't even open these things. What these are designed for is when you open them to instill fear, so that you open
Mm.
them and there's big letters, red writing, capital letters, boxes, and all kinds of language and stuff you don't really understand. And you go, oh my God, I've been caught doing this. I better pay it quick. There'll always be some kind of do it now or do it within the next few days or your final double or jump through this hoop or this will happen. You know, it's all that kind of thing just to instill that fear, fight or flight, that kind of thing. We've seen it many times now,
Mm.
certainly through the COVIDs and all of that kind of thing. So, without further ado, we'll go into this and I'll just work my way down this from the top to bottom.
Mm.
Now, I wanted to go through this and just do it sort of live as a first off because having read a fair few of these and looked at legalese and things like that a little bit, I find it quite easy to spot all of the traps or most of the traps. So it's easy for me to do this live. But I have seen this one before. We looked at this just the other
Mm.
day and just went through it as a bit of a practice one in a way. But there were so many anomalies that we thought, well, this is probably one worth sharing. So we'll start with top left, Mrs. Jane Smith, in all caps. Mrs. is a military title. Smith is owned by the Crown Corporation off the birth certificate registration. And Jane, although it's in all caps, so not English, would be the name of the woman or the name of the man. You can identify as either these days, I think, anyway. Um, the styling of this will be different in all different letters. It kind of is part of the account that they want to take money from. Sesqui trust account has many different accounts. They're all the same pot, but when you do anything that they find investable, they'll open another account. It has to be a different name, but similar. So they'll use an initial for a middle name or something like that. But yeah, so Mrs. Jane Smith, you could have the Jane in English and it would still be the same. You've got the military title and you've got the surname. So that's addressing the straw man. It's addressing the account. This is where they want the money from. It's not addressing the woman. So this is postal fraud or cause. Stamp it, send it back. Don't open it. However, we'll go through this. So coming down, we go for attention of company secretary if limited company. So it's already assuming commerce. It has to because it refers to the Road Traffic Act, which is for commerce only. There's a couple of clues to that, and that is that in the introductory text, of any of the legislation, it will tell you where it gets its powers. And this particular one happened to know it gets its powers from the House of Commons, House of Lords, which are both, House is a commercial word. So it can only get its powers from commerce. So it can only have power over commerce. You can't have power over, you can't give out what you don't already have. So that's as good as they get. They have no power over man at this point. So you'll see that it'll use the word person as opposed to the word man or woman. And not all legislation does, which shows you they have a choice of which words they do use. So, yeah, we're expecting commerce already. Again, we go across the other side. We've got a PO box as a return address, a non physical building. So we're already in fiction with this. We come down to notice of intended prosecution reminder, which we can't read because the Oxford Styles Manual or the Chicago Styles Manual will tell you that that is not English. It's symbols, a dog Latin possibly, or American Sign Language, but it cannot be read as English. And vehicle registration number underneath it is the same in all caps. However, for this particular thing, I'll read them as if they were English. And again, this is a reminder of that notice of intended prosecution. So they're saying, to date, no reply has been received to the above mentioned notice of intended prosecution, which was recently issued to you for the alleged offence below. The addressee of the notice is bound by law to provide the driver, new keeper, hirer's details. Okay, which law? Because I'm betting that is legislation, not law. Massive difference. Okay, they haven't even, at this point, they need to prove in commerce for legislation to apply. However, not too much of an issue. It does mention the word you here, which was recently issued to you. Now, you is a plural word generally. And what they tend to do is they would have put Dear Jane just above. And what the you does is it's an adhesive contract and it joins Jane with the Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Jane Smith at the top. And that glues you to your straw man. Thus, you only need to answer one or the other. You become the same entity. If you respond to this is one of the biggest traps they use. And this is in pretty much everything you receive. The first letter from anyone will, in that first paragraph, probably use the word you more times than any other word. 3-4 times the word you. Quite easily, they could put your name in there, Jane in this particular case, but they don't. They just put you because it glues you or the man to the straw man, the woman to the straw woman, I guess.
So
So
you
coming,
is glue. You is glue.
you
I
is
just,
glue. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a plural word, as in you lot.
Mm,
Generally, but it can be used singly,
mm,
and that's why it's such a trick because you don't spot it.
mm.
But it is a plural word, and it glues you to your straw man. So from now on, if you do not rebut that, if you do answer, you one does answer and does not rebut you, you can simply just ask who are you referring to by the word you,
Mm, mm.
or you can write your own interpretations chapter where you can define the word you, an employee of, in this case, blah blah, please. So once you've done that, then it becomes the interpretation for all communications in this particular case, and it kind of blows it out the water for them. However, we're getting a bit too deep into it there. We just wanted to sort of take this letter to pieces, and the reason being, or notice, I should say, the reason being is to take away from the fear. So you can see that they don't really know what they're writing, or you can see the trap. So there's the biggest trap. That will be in every single one. Now, under here, we've got alleged offence. The said local traffic order and sections 84 and 89 brackets 1 of the road traffic regulation. What? The alleged offence is the said local traffic order and sections 84 and 89 brackets 1 of the road traffic regulation. So there's no alleged offence. That means nothing. They haven't shown us any local traffic order, let alone the sections or the road traffic regulation. They haven't said it's a specific section of the Road Traffic Act, which is what you would expect them to do, except when you read the Road Traffic Act, I have the contents here of the Road Traffic Act, and I've gone through it a few times. There's no offence of speeding in there. So you're all right on speeding. That's great. It's not covered. That's why they've gone to some other kind of weird stuff. But because they haven't included it, it means nothing. Date and time of the alleged offence and location. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. That's going to be different on every single one. And then underneath, we've got, again, all caps can't be read, speed offence. If the above states an offence, which it doesn't, therefore, this is all null and void. It means nothing. If the above states an offence of exceeding the speed limit, the recorded speed limit of the vehicle was 41 miles per hour. This will result in the time displayed below showing 0 seconds. What's that got to do with anything? But because it says if the above states an offence, the above doesn't. It just states a reference to some paperwork somewhere, which has nothing to do with anything. I mean, it didn't even say alleged offence. I mean, yeah, okay, we may have not been given these bits and bobs and may have been lost in translation, but the alleged offence has to say speeding in a 30 or speeding in a 50 or parking on double yellow lines. It has to say an offence. It can't just list a book, Mary Poppins. That's your offence. It's crazy stuff. Coming down, we've got red light offence, all caps, can't read it, doesn't say anything. And the reason I'm saying this is you can read this again, but you can leave out anything that's all caps. You can leave out anything in a box. Read it again, and it'll tell you even more. They've got absolutely nothing on you because, it's the only reason you think it's an offence is because it says so there, but it doesn't. It's in all caps. If the above states an offence of failing to conform to the indication given by a traffic signal, the vehicle crossed the stop line, and that's not filled in there, seconds after the red traffic signal had been illuminated. This will result in the speed displayed above showing 0 miles per hour. So I honestly don't know what this means.
It's quite funny, actually. I mean, when you break it down like this, it's incomprehensible what they're actually.
If this was in court, how would you turn to the judge and say, please, Your Honour, explain what the hell this garbage is talking about? I can't understand. I'm going to guess at the fact that this is a pure speed offence, but
it looks like reason, it from this, doesn't it?
Yeah, for some reason they'll send the same notice out for traffic light and speed. So, because it's actually got something filled in under the speed, then it's a 41 miles an hour, presumably in a 30 limit, but it doesn't say that. And it's the red light is just because it's a template that they use. So maybe it is 41 miles an hour in a 30, but this is just unclear. This is just total garbage. So badly written. I mean, you might as well go down to primary school, give them a bunch of crayons and a load of paper and see what they can come up with, because it'll be better than this. You, again, adhesion contract, are recorded as the owner, keeper, hirer of the above vehicle, or you have been named, you again, as the driver of the above vehicle at the time of the alleged offence. Well, which is it? The law is quite precise. So you killed somebody, or you might have known somebody or seen somebody or known somebody that saw somebody that may have killed somebody,
mm,
or you might have seen that on telly. However, we're going to send this to, that's so vague. I mean,
mm,
you got to be one or the other. It can't be this vague.
mm,
Anyway, again, it's using the U there to glue you to your straw man. Now, underneath, as most of you will probably know, if it's in a box, it ain't on the page. This is a separate thing to the page. um, However, this is very, very interesting. Under Section 172 of the Road Traffic Act 1988, you are required to supply the details requested within 7 days of the service of this notice. Failure to provide this information constitutes an offence carrying a fine of up to £1,000, 6 penalty point driving licence endorsement, and or disqualification from driving. Okay, that's a lie. Section 172 of the Road Traffic Act. There it is. Section 172 of the Road Traffic Act. Right, where the driver of a vehicle is alleged to be guilty of an offence. So you've got to be alleged to be guilty of an offence. No offence there, so we're okay. To which this section applies. A, the person keeping the vehicle shall give such information as to the identity of the driver as he may be required to give by or on behalf of Chief Officer of Police or the Chief Constable of the British Transport Police Force and any other blah, blah, blah. So it does kind of say that in effect, but the very next paragraph, a person shall not be guilty of an offence by virtue of paragraph A of subsection 2 above if he shows that he did not know and could not, with reasonable diligence, have ascertained who the driver of the vehicle was. Okay, so if you didn't know who the driver of the vehicle was, or could not articulate in any way for any reason, or could not be sure, then as long as you can say that, you're not guilty of any offence, which is not what it says there. Also, paragraph 7, it shall have effect as a requirement to give the information within the period of 28 days, beginning with the day on which the notice is served. 28 days? I'm sure that said 7.
mm-hmm.
Why is that different? So they're quoting this legislation, but then they're getting all the numbers wrong. That's weird. Yeah, the person on whom the notice is served shall not be guilty of an offence under this section if he shows either that he gave the information as soon as reasonably practical after the end of that period, or that it has not been reasonably practical for him to do so. So again, you don't necessarily have to give it. And that's just according to the section that they're quoting there.
And that's interesting because sometimes people get served these papers when they're actually moving house, for example, and they may not even receive it. So under that section that you've just read out, if it's not practicable, then they may not have sent anything back.
Absolutely. It does say that the address to be served for a company secretary, etc., is the company address. Obviously, we're still in commerce, or the last known address of the person. So if you have just moved house, then the notice can be deemed to be served to your previous address. However, that's a reasonable excuse for not being able to give the details because you didn't receive the notice. So
right.
Although they served it to a correct address, you still have reasonable excuse for not being able to provide those details. Again, we don't really want to go too heavy into this because we're talking person, driver, motor vehicle, all of these kind of words. And just to poke a toe in there for a minute, let's just bring up this little chapter on the same Road Traffic Act called interpretation. A lot of this legislation has chapters where they have interpretation. Council tax use this brilliantly by changing the meaning of various words for that particular legislation only. And in here, of course, I didn't read this looking for this word. I should have done that. It might not be in there, but owner, keeper of the vehicle. Right. It's just that I've got a couple of little definitions. Motor car means a mechanically propelled vehicle, not being a motorcycle or an invalid carriage, which is constructed itself to carry a load or passenger and the weight of which unladen. And then you've got three different categories. The first two, passengers and goods, commercial. And then the last one says does not exceed 2,540 kilograms in a case not falling within sub-para A and B above. So um, it does give you the definition of the car. However, they don't say your motor car was going 41 in a 30. They say your motor vehicle. Motor vehicle means subject to Section 20 of the Chronically Sick and Disabled Persons Act 1970, which makes special provisions about invalid carriages within the meaning of an act, a mechanically propelled vehicle intended or adapted for use on roads. It's an invalid carriage. A motor vehicle is an invalid carriage. A motor car is a motor car. Again, we can argue whether it's commerce or not, but this is the kind of level of trickery they're using. They're changing these words for us to think they mean one thing. When you check on them and read through it, it kind of means something else.
That's amazing. Right.
I digress. Yeah. Again, they're saying that there's an alleged offence within the Road Traffic Act for possibly speeding, but legislation.gov.uk, type in Road Traffic Act 1988, and you can go through the whole. I got 11 pages here, and nowhere does it say speeding's an offence within the Road Traffic Act that I can find. I could be wrong. I'll read it again. I read it through twice, couldn't find it. So there is no alleged offence within the Road Traffic Act. So all of this is rubbish anyway. It means it's rubbish from start to finish. Pretty much every word in it is rubbish. But there is no offence because speeding's not an offence in the Road Traffic Act.
That's great.
Really
good.
Underneath the box, we're nearly done. Only the addressee should complete information on the reverse and return the signed form with the correct postage paid to the camera and tickets office at the address above. Do not send your driving license or payment with this notice. Now, the funny thing is, of course, that only a court can give out a fine. This is obviously pre-court, notice of intended prosecution. So why are they fining you before the court? That's racketeering. Secondly, only the addressee should complete the information. Why would that matter who completes it? Okay. A statement of truth signed by whoever's making that statement is good enough for the courts. The reason is because the addressee is the straw man. So it's another trap. You are filling out the form on behalf of the Crown copyrighted name which they own. So you are administering account. It's on port or something like that. You are administering an account that you do not have the authority to do so. So they're asking you to do it, and when you do it, you get prosecuted for it. Funny how they wish it to be signed, but I don't think we've got a signature on here from them.
No.
And this is an effort not by one man. On behalf of the Chief Constables of Bedfordshire Police, Cambridgeshire Constabulary, Hertfordshire Constabulary, 3 police forces have managed to come up with this masterpiece of a document. It's amazing what can happen when they put their heads together. It really is. Why 3 police forces? I mean, it happened in one place, and they haven't got an offence. They've written it all upside down, back to front with legalese. But at the end of the day, the one thing to remember with road traffic offences is the only thing they need for a conviction is a confession. So as soon as you say, yeah, I was driving, or that was me, that's my vehicle, I'm the straw man, any of these confessions are good enough for them to just protest, rubber stamp, and through it goes. It is difficult, but not impossible, to fight this at any stage, but it's very, very easy to fight it at the very early stages, even responding to this. If you know what you're doing, very easy. But stamp it, send it back. Don't open it, stamp it, send it back, and it's already dealt with.
We'll just show you the stamp again, just so that
Yeah.
we've got that clear. So this is what to stamp it over the so sideways across the envelope over the window envelope if it
45
is a
degrees up.
window.
Yeah, and just write that. If you don't have a stamp, just write it on in pen. Try and use a blue pen. It's Admiralty jurisdiction, which is color blue for the sea. Never use a black pen for anything, but if you haven't got a blue pen, do it red, purple, whatever you got. And you don't have to put opened in error if opened. If you have opened it, just put opened in error if you're writing it on. It's just you need to put that on if you're getting a stamp. But yeah, the best thing once you get used to this and you can see where they're coming from and everything else, don't open any of these. You don't need to go through what we've just been through there and pull your hair out trying to understand the language in there and the jumping back and forwards and the fact they've used the wrong legislation and the wrong parts to change the figures in there. And you don't have to go through all of that. That's just unnecessary. Stamp it, send it back, let them deal with it. And they can't process. They just can't process it.
Great.
Anyway, I think that's all I got on that one.
Thank you so much, David. That is very, very interesting. Thank you.